Let's talk about the most important lesson that you can learn by watching the Beast Games. For those of you that don't know, the Beast Games is a reality TV competition where in season 2, 200 members compete to win $5 million. dollars. In the early parts of the competition, in the early episodes, a lot of the contestants are asked to demonstrate personal leadership skills or personal abilities, whether it's their strength or their intelligence or their ability to solve problems. But a lot of the ways that contestants are able to make it through the early episodes and the early competitions is by demonstrating individual skills. Later on, as the competition progresses, the contestants are asked to demonstrate other skills related to small team leadership, whether it's forming alliances or working together as a team to solve whatever it is the puzzle or the competition requires. And in the later stages of the competition, when you get closer to the folks who are actually going to be in the finalists, they are required to demonstrate more transformational or more organizational leadership skills. This has to do with what they value as an individual and how their values will impact the decisions that they make. The most important thing when you're watching the Beast Games, aside from just consuming entertainment and rooting for which contestant to win, is to pay attention how each of the contestants navigates personal leadership, small team leadership, and navigates transformational organizational leadership and demonstrates different qualities in order to successfully compete for the $5 million. dollars. The people that we root for the most are the people who, or the people that I should say I root for the most, are the people who demonstrate that they've overcome some things or they've experienced some challenges and they're still able to succeed personally. And the people that I value the most or what I really root for the most throughout the competition are the people who are able to bring people together from different backgrounds and help them align the goals that they have in order for their small team to succeed. And the people that I value the most in the competition are also the people who stay true to their core values and they don't sell them out for any amount of money. Those are the people that I believe have the highest ability or the greatest ability to lead when it comes time to leading a successful organization. The reason why I root for those people is because I believe that those are the people that are able to make the biggest impact in society, and they're the people that are going to be able to solve problems that other people cannot solve. But when I think about all of the lessons and all the things that you can possibly learn by watching the Beast Games and breaking everything apart, I believe that the most important thing that students today can learn is the fact that there is a Beast Games, that there is a competition for that $5 million, dollars, and only one person is going to be able to win. I believe that the Beast Games is indicative of the economy and the state of our society. Here you have an individual who is pretty wealthy, pretty well known, pretty popular, has achieved a level of success, and he is essentially the host, and he is creating all the rules and he's creating all of um, the constraints that go along in the competition that you have to follow in the competition. He's behind everything. He's organizing everything. He obviously has more than $5 million, but he in our society, in our culture, in our economy, there's always an individual or a small group of individuals that is working behind the scenes and hosting the competition. And maybe it's for amusement, maybe it's for pleasure, but there's always someone or a small group of people who have that role that Mr. Beast has in the Beast Games. When you think about the contestants, some of these contestants come from all different walks of life. Some of them are wealthy. Some of them are strong. Some of them are not as strong physically, but they're strong mentally. Some of them are professional athletes. Some of them are just 9 to 5 workers. There's all different types of people who participate in the Beast Games. Uh, Similar to what we see in our student population. There's all different types of students from all different walks of life that are pursuing their academic education. And some people have focused on learning the trades and becoming and working with their hands and becoming an expert at a particular trade. And some have worked mostly on preparing their mind and preparing uh, their intelligence and sharpening their skills in different academic environments. But there's all different types of people in the Beast Games, just like there's all different types of people in who happen to be students in all different walks of life and all different ages that are all competing. The students today, and this is why I say the most important lesson to learn is the fact that there is a competition, that life is a competition. The students today have a very difficult time, or have a more difficult time than their parents had. It is now harder to afford to go to school and get an education. And then when you graduate and you make it through, it's harder for these students, for the graduates today, to get the jobs that they need in order to live a middle class life and to purchase the things that they need to purchase in order for them to live their dreams. It is now harder to get experience, even with a degree. Sometimes that just it boggles my mind how all of your childhood in school and you can spend all of your early adult time in school, and you can graduate with a 4 or 6 or however many 8-year degree, and you can go to a job and they can tell you, hey, you have the education but you don't have the experience, and there's no place where you can go get the experience. I believe that feature in the job market for early graduates or recent graduates is something that is broken in our job market. And today's graduates have a more difficult time getting jobs that will justify the amount of investment, that financial investment they've had to make in earning the degree or earning their education. And for many students, it's not an option. There's no option of not going to school. There's no, as bad as it is to graduate and take out loans and have to figure out how you're going to pay back your loans while trying to afford to purchase a home and do all of the things. The students today have to make a decision, and many times you have to do that because the alternative is not acceptable. It's not acceptable to graduate from high school and not go to school and not earn your degree and try to enter the workforce and try to earn a salary that is going to pay you enough money to start a family and to buy a home and to live your version of the American dream. As little or as small of a chance that today's students have in living in living the quality of life that their parents have and their grandparents have, as little as those chances are, they're even smaller if they don't go to school. There's even smaller if they don't develop and they don't invest in learning. And I hate to say this, but in this part of the talk, I'm gonna have to talk very frankly about the reality that students in our country face. Um, everything, everything is a competition for them. And the system is not set up right now for them to succeed, unfortunately. Students today not only have to compete for uh, the best professors so that they can learn the things that they need to learn in order to graduate and to use that knowledge later on in life, but they also have to compete for resources. They have to compete to get the funding that they need in order to continue their education. They have to compete to get accepted to different schools that they need to get accepted into in order to secure a job after graduation. They have to compete for internships so that they can get the experience that they need so that when they graduate, they'll have the experience to get a job that is going to pay them enough to pay off the loans or pay off their student debt. The students today have to compete for resources. They have to compete for classes. They have to compete to get access or to get accepted to different schools. And even with all of that, there's no guarantee that if they win the competition to go to the school that they want to go to and they get accepted into the program that they wanted to get accepted into, and even if they were able to afford their education, and if they won all of that, if they competed successfully, if students today completed success if students today competed successfully and they won and they graduate, there is no guarantee that they're going to be able to find a job that is going to pay them enough in order to live their dreams and to live a better quality of life than their parents are living. There's no guarantee that they're going to successfully get a job that is going to give them room for growth. Some jobs you get and right after graduation, and if you're not getting a job in the career or in the industry that you have earned a degree in, the work experience that you have doesn't really count as experience. And so it's very difficult. You may find yourself in a situation where you get underpaid for uh, the education level that you have just received. And when you're underpaid for the education that you've just received, it's very difficult to get on the other side of that, where you're actually getting paid fairly for the value that you're creating for an organization. When I think about the cars that students need to buy, a lot of times you're driving around or you don't even have a car when you're a student, but as soon as you graduate, a lot of times you're not going to live, excuse me, a lot of times you don't live, well, after you graduate, you don't live in the same place where you work. So you have to commute to work. And buying an affordable car to get to and from work, essentially that's part of your salary that you're just not going to see again. I know some people will talk and they'll say, you know what? Why, with all of this technology, with all the Zoom, with all the FaceTime, with all this technology, with all this internet service, why are we still asking people to come into the office and work when they can work just as well at home? Why can't we have more careers or more industries or more companies that can organize and can be productive by working remotely? But students have no say in that. A lot of times they just have to accept whatever the terms of the job is because they need a job and they have loans to pay off. And if they don't pay off their loans, then like what are they going to do? So you pretty much have to take out a loan to get a car, and you hope that the terms of the loan will not completely sink you financially, but now you have student debt and you could potentially also have a car loan. And then you try to find a place to live, right? So students today, they're like, all right, well, I'll get an apartment or I'll get a condo. Many times, if you're going to a university, you're going to college, you're living on campus, that that subsistence or that housing allowance or the dorms that you're living in, a lot of times those are provided for you at favorable market rates. But as soon as you graduate, you have to pay the full market rate for your living situation, and a lot of times you have to go get a roommate or a couple of roommates. And a lot of times it's just too expensive for students to just graduate and purchase a home and start paying on that home. And so many times students, when they graduate, they have their student loans, then they have to get a car, so they have a car payment, and then now they're renting. And in a city like Los Angeles or any major city where you have some of the best colleges and universities, you also have the highest rents. There's the highest housing prices. And let's just say, for example, you get into a condo or you get into an apartment. You got your utilities, you got your lease or the rent that you're paying. You may even have a parking bill, but there's a lot of bills that just start adding up. And a lot of students have to face all of those bills all at the same time. And some students are having to do that without any family help. And so you continue to work on your resume, you still continue to put yourself out there, you continue as a student, you continue to do all of those things, and very quickly you can feel like the system is not set up for you to win. Because as let's assume you get a good job, let's assume that job allows you to pay the rent and pay the car payment and pay your student loans. You start thinking, okay, the next area of my life or the next version of my life, I need to purchase a home. I want to start a family. I want a backyard. I want to get a dog. I want to I just want to move on to the next phase of my life. And once you graduate, and let's say for example you found someone that you want to get married to, and you decide to move in together because you have to save enough for a down payment, you start realizing very quickly that even two salaries, even two students who have graduated with good degrees and have now started jobs at some corporation or some organization that is paying them a living wage in a major city, a lot of times those two people, even if they put uh, their finances and their investments together, they're not able to afford a down payment in a home that that they can live in and go to work in. The housing prices are so high that even two salaries, if you're working two salaries, even two salaries are not able to qualify you to purchase a home and pay the down payment and to afford that payment. And many times it's the student loan debt, it's the car loan debt, it's the personal credit card debt that disqualifies couples who are working and who are well educated. It disqualifies them from being able to afford a home. But let's just say, for example, you got promoted and you're 5 to 10 years after graduation and you've saved up enough for a down payment. You may just have enough for a down payment for a fixer upper in a major city. And that gets you into the home, but now you have a massive mortgage payment and you're essentially house poor. You're not able to go on your family vacations. It's hard to afford health care, even though you're getting it from your employer. You're under stress because you're still paying on your loans. Maybe you have a nice car, but you're paying on that car payment. And your entire life feels like a massive struggle to afford the lifestyle that is less than your parents were able to enjoy. Essentially, your entire life, students today are being set up so that they live their entire life in some sort of debt. They're being set up to live their entire life by paying interest on that debt. The students today are being set up to never be able to afford to live the American dream. And as I was saying before, the best lesson that you can learn from watching Mr. Beast is that everything is a competition, because you may see other people who that you have graduated with, or other people that grew up in your hometown, or other people that are around your same age group, and they look like they're doing amazing compared to you. But let me tell you, getting access to capital and getting access to financing to purchase things and to demonstrate wealth or demonstrate financial success is not the same thing as actually having the money in cash. And so there's a lot of people out there that may portray that may portray a successful or a wealthy lifestyle, but they're not actually wealthy or successful, and they're also not very happy inside because they know deep down inside it's not real. And what is unfortunate from my vantage point is when I see students working extremely hard to graduate and extremely hard to get their jobs that they want after college, and they want to start a family. What's frustrating is the economy is not set up for those students to succeed. And at the age of 18, we're allowed to vote, right? So I believe that if students had a chance to vote all together, I believe that they would vote for a better education system. I believe that they would vote for a better financial services industry. I believe that they would vote for more opportunities to purchase homes and buy cars and buy all of the things that they need in order to live their dreams. But as I was saying before, everything is a competition. And unfortunately, a lot of students are not able to understand that the competition that they are in is is the primary reason. The type of competition that they're in is the primary reason why we're not able to have a better quality of life, or why students are not able to have a better future. When you um, think about competition, a lot of times in colleges and universities and in any academic program, you think that you're in a competition against someone who is in your class. There's someone that is studying and taking the same class that you're in, and you may think that, okay, if I do X, Y, and Z and they do A, B, and C, then I'll get a better grade. And so I'll win that competition. And then there's other people who think, I'm competing against the best people in my school. So of everyone who could possibly be a valedictorian or everyone who could possibly get straight A's, I'm competing with the creme de la creme. I'm competing with the best. And so those people are in my competition. There's other people who will say, I'm competing against the best students in the entire world. So my competition is the best people or the best students in all of academia. Depending on who you define as your competition, and depending on what competition you consider yourself in, you may find yourself acting in ways that are not very helpful for you long term. I mentioned in Mr. Beast games, when in the early parts of the competition, a lot of the things that are tested are leadership, and they are personal leadership. And then as the competition goes on, like small team leadership is being tested, and people are competing based on their ability to form small teams and to operate effectively. And then in later rounds, a lot of the things that are being tested are more transformational organizational leadership, is what your core values are and how they impact the decisions that you make. Well, based on how you define your competition, and in the early stages, you may think that your competition, if you were a competitor, you may think that your competition is the person next to you. So all you need to do is perform well individually. But then in later parts of the competition, you learn, my competition is actually other teams, and it's important for me to form a team to compete with other teams. And in later parts of the competition, you realize, my competition is not with other teams. Now my competition is much, much bigger than that. It is more of a competition with myself and the organization and the type of team that I lead. So I need to start working on my transformational and my organizational leadership skills. Students today have to understand that they are in a competition. You are in a competition. And in the early parts of your educational journey, you are in a competition with the person that is sitting right next to you, that is trying to learn the same things that you're trying to learn, and are trying to uh, compete for the same opportunities that you're competing for and you're trying to win. But later on in your life, and this gets into more of your advanced courses, you begin to compete against teams. You begin to do more group projects. You begin to understand that it's not just your contribution that is going to make your team successful, but it's your ability to work with a small team and lead a small team. But after you graduate, when you get ready to enter the market and you're getting ready to sell yourself, you're getting ready to get that position at a job that you want to work at, you have to begin demonstrating your ability to have transformational leadership skills, transformational organizational skills. But you're not going to be able to demonstrate those skills if you haven't first worked on your ability to develop personal leadership and small team leadership. And that with those prerequisites, you'll get into transformational leadership. And some people think, I don't, I really don't find the need for that. Well, when you're trying to describe to a hiring manager that your skills or the things that you've learned in your academic journey, your academic life, are going to apply to a role that they have in their company, A lot of times you have to be able to describe yourself in a way that differentiates yourself from your peers. It's not enough just to say that I have a diploma from a particular school. It's not enough to say that I have developed these personal skills or these personal leadership skills. You have to take it one step further and come off or demonstrate or explain yourself as if you're a full person, someone who has values, someone who has integrity, someone who pursues excellence, someone who can be selfless. You have to describe yourself in such a way where they can understand the transformational effect that you're going to have by joining their company. I believe that that part of it, that transformational part of it, makes you more important than artificial intelligence. But a lot of students make the mistake that of thinking that after they graduate, their competition is still with the person that they graduated with, or they're still with the person that is their peer. But it's just not the case. There's also some people out there who define their competition as their, hey, I'm competing with a small team or a small group, a different demographic, and so I need to work with people in my demographic to compete against that someone in that other demographic. But that's also not the transformation. That's not the competition that um, is happening out here. When you graduate, the competition, everything is a competition, and when you realize that you're not competing with the person next to you and you're not competing with the someone in the next demographic, you're actually competing once you graduate. You're competing with the with the people who do not believe like you. You're competing with the people who are complacent. You're competing with the people who are dishonest. You're struggling against the people who would take advantage of your work without giving you any credit. You're competing with people who would lie to you, who would cheat you, who would steal from you. You're competing with people who do not want you to win. They may act like they're your friend, but they are not your friend. When you graduate, when you enter the quote unquote real world, the competition that you are going to face and the opposition that you're going to face, the people who are going to stop you from living your dreams are not the people who are trying to study and learn the same things that you're learning. They're not the people who are working together to live their version of the American dream. The competition that you're going to face are is going to be against the people who do not want you to win on any day of the week. Even if they lose, they would they would take your loss. If you said, "Hey, if I lose, if you make me lose, then we're all going to lose." Then they'll say, "Fine, we'll all lose." They just do not want you to win. And there's people out there, there's a small part of the population. There's probably 10% of the population that are like this, that are just hardcore people who who would fight you at every single turn. If they see you doing something good, they'll do something bad. If they see you saving money, they'll find a way to steal your money. If they see you making progress in your career, they're going to find some way to undercut you because they don't want to see you succeed. It is brutal. It is crazy out here. And that's what I want you to get ready for. If you're a student right now and you're studying whatever the subject is that you're studying, understand that the competition that you are going to face after you graduate is going to be immense. It is going to be a competition for everything. There's going to be competition to get the car that you want. There's going to be a struggle that you're going to have to go through to get the living situation that you want. If you want to purchase a home, there's going to be a competition to get that home. If you want to get married and have kids, there's going to be a competition to get into that type of relationship that you want, that has love that will last longer than a lifetime. Every single thing that you do as an adult after you graduate is going to be a competition. And what I want you to see is the competition, or the people that are going to do the most to try to stop you are the people out there who are dishonest. They're the people out there who will lie. There are people out there who will cheat, and there are people out there who will steal from you. And these types of people, they don't have a particular religion. They can be of any religion. They don't have a particular income. They can make all different types of income. When you think about the impact that you're going to have on the world and the impact that they are actually having on the world, you're on the side of the good and they're on the side of the evil. And They will dress up, they will do whatever they can to hide the fact that their intentions are not pure with you. And they will try to take advantage of your generosity while being selfish and conniving on the back end. They will stab you in your back at a moment's notice. When you graduate, you're going to be competing with these types of people. I want you to be prepared. I want you to study the things that you are studying and do your best to develop personal leadership skills. That is going to form the foundation that you're going to need to protect yourself from the people who are going to try to stop you from living your dreams once you graduate. Then, on each group project, on each time that you have to work together or to be a part of a team, I want you to take that opportunity to be part of a team and find a way to work on your small team leadership skills. This is very important because when you think about getting ahead and generating wealth and creating a legacy, none of those things are possible if you don't have the ability to be a part and function as a small team. You don't have to be necessarily the formal leader of the team, but you should be able to contribute in a meaningful way so that your team or your small team can succeed. Learn what skills come naturally to you that you can contribute without much effort, and then learn the type of skills that you need to complement your skills. If you're excellent at time management, maybe you need to be with someone who's more creative so that your discipline with your time management and their creativity can create some positive results. If you're a big picture type of guy, maybe you should start working with people and learn how to work with people who are able to get very tactical and very focused on the minutia of the details of whatever the problem is that you're trying to solve. It's important to think about diversity not just in response to what someone's skin tone looks like, but diversity of opinion, diversity of thought, diversity of perspective. It's important to have a wide view of what diversity is because diversity is definitely a strength when we're putting together a successful, high performing team. The last thing I want you to do to get ready for this crazy competition that you're going to get ready to go into after you graduate is to start developing your transformational leadership skills. And you may be thinking, well, what is transformational leadership and why should I care about it? Well, whenever you're thinking about growing in your career or taking advantage of opportunities that other people are not able to take advantage of, or solving problems that other people cannot solve, or just achieving results that other people are not able to achieve, it always involves some sort of transformation. Somewhere along the way, you're able to do things that other people are not able to do. Somewhere along the way, you're able to generate trust and you're able to build relationships that other people were not able to build and to generate relationships and all of that comes from transformation. All of that comes from your ability to maintain your core values and interact in a positive and constructive way with other people who have strong core values. Leadership, I tell people, I've learned and developed in the military, but leadership is just the ability to motivate someone to do things that they would not ordinarily do. And you can use transactional leadership for that by essentially risk and reward and punishment and awards for people, or you can do it using transformation by connecting with their core values. I believe using transformational leadership is less time intensive. It doesn't require you to be in a formal leadership position. It can be used in all different parts and different segments of your career. And it's something that I've been able to use as a consultant when I was climbing up the ranks of corporate America in one of the big four accounting firms in the world. And it's something that has generated immense value for my clients. And it's provided my ability, it's created an ability for me to build a successful career. Work on your personal leadership skills. After you work on your personal leadership, start working on your small group and small team leadership skills. And then last but not least, start working on your transformational leadership skills. If you do this, you'll be able to get ahead and generate wealth and create a legacy, and you'll be able to compete successfully against people who do not want you to win. Believe me, after you graduate, it is going to be crazy. The people that know you the best, the people who are your best friends are going to try to compete with you to get the opportunities that you need in order to be successful. The people who are closest to you will switch up after you graduate when they realize that The opportunities that you get are going to prevent them from getting the opportunities that they want to have. And it's going to be very difficult for you to trust the people who are competing directly against you or who view you as the competition. I don't want you to fall into that mistake of trusting someone that you should not trust. I don't want you to feel that nasty feeling of betrayal. I want you to work on your personal leadership skills, work on your small team leadership skills, work on your transformational leadership skills, so that you will have the skills that you need to be successful and continue to win the competition that you are facing. Life is a struggle. It's like Mr. Beast. Everyone is competing for a single prize. And that prize is living the American dream. That prize is living a better quality of life than your parents. And if you don't work together, if we don't work together as a people or as a society, we will never get there. The secret here, and now that you know that everything is a competition, the secret here is to develop the ability to form teams and to solve problems that other generations could not solve. And that's what I'm doing with these talks and these videos. That's my message for you today. I look forward to talking to you again in the next video. See you later.